everybody, thanks for joining me as we take a look at our storm that's headed in our direction. It's going to be mostly snow. We're going to drop accumulating snow, I think, for everybody here across southern Vermont Thursday into Friday, although some areas will see some mixing, particularly areas below 1,000 feet. So let's take a look at all the details and figure out what's going to happen here across southern Vermont. Here's our storm getting going here. We have kind of a couple different pieces of this, but you can see it's starting to really tap some kind of Gulf, and there was some Pacific moisture that moved across with it, really starting to drop some precipitation. We have a little bit of a system still kind of swinging through with some mostly light rain showers. We didn't get quite as cold as I thought out of this system, so we've stayed, thankfully, not freezing rain. And for the most part, we're going to, I think, avoid a lot of that. Could see a little sleet and freezing rain and drizzle in some spots. So still be a little careful out there on the roads today, but for the most part, we're fine. This system will give us more in the way of slippery travel as we head through Thursday, late afternoon, evening, and into the morning on Friday, and actually through the day on Friday with some light snow. So let's look at radar here. You can see pretty significant precipitation. What's going to happen is the storm is going to kind of head towards the Great Lakes and then redevelop off the coast. That's going to hold in more of the cold air. You can see our leftover very light precipitation happening with our system that's kind of swinging through today. Some of this will eventually turn to flurries today, as well as the upper levels do cool off and allow that to happen. In terms of temperatures, we're marginal. There is a little cool air here, though, across eastern Canada. A little bit of a pocket here in Quebec, and then another little section here north of Lake Superior. We're going to tap a little bit of that cool air aloft, just enough to hold us to be mostly snow out of this next storm. For most locations, some of the, particularly the Route 7 corridor, has a chance to mix a decent amount. But even there, I think we're looking at some accumulating snow. So let's take a look at the storm track here. Here's what's going to happen. This is not your typical snow track necessarily for a storm. Basically, the system here is going to race up to the Great Lakes, but because things are kind of blocked up and not allowing it to continue on its trek, as it kind of slows here and starts to lose its main source of energy, we will redevelop a coastal system. Now, we're not redeveloping it earlier. Sometimes you'll get a system like this and you'll redevelop off the Carolina coast, really give us a chance to lock in cold air. That's not going to happen. It's happening more like off near New York City, or just east of New Jersey offshore. And that is going to keep us marginally cold, and keep things moving. What else is going to happen is this system here that sort of dies Friday overnight over the Great Lakes as the main source of energy will still kind of swing through as cold, with colder air aloft, with it entrenched with it on Friday during the day, and it will still have some lift with it, which will continue our precipitation in a light to moderate snow for Friday. And areas that see a bunch of mixing overnight, Friday night, Thursday night into Friday, we'll see everybody will be snow out of this second round, and this round could drop that 2 to 4 inches that I think even the places that see mostly rain out of the first slug of moisture are going to get. So even if you wake up on Friday morning, you don't have any snow yet, or it's just starting to snow in a place like Bennington, expect to get some accumulating snow during the day. So let's take a look at precipitation maps. So 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Precipitation starts around 4 p.m. Probably starts mostly as snow for all of us, although there might be some rain in areas like in Route 7 where it'll be well above freezing, I think, tomorrow during the day. But here we're looking at rain for a lot of that Route 7 corridor, basically up to Manchester, I think. As you head north of that, there's still a kind of a mix of, this will be mostly rain and snow, could be some sleet pellets mixed in there, but this isn't really a freezing rain kind of setup at all. Areas north and east of that are snow a little bit longer, and are mostly snow and mostly above 1,000 feet. The only places above 1,000 feet would be kind of the southern greens. The very southern greens may mix at the beginning. This will be a storm, though, that transitions towards snow, not away from snow. Oops, sorry, wrong button. So as we head towards 10 o'clock at night, you can see that we've actually started to draw in some of that colder air a little bit more, and now we're kind of mixing in some snow, I think, even in the Route 7 corridor, although, again, this won't accumulate really. And this mixed line at this point gets close to Rutland, basically, and south on Route 7. Areas east of that, I think, mostly, at least at this point, stay snow. We could get a changeover. Your changeover happens later, potentially, in a place like Brattleboro. You get a little bit of rain kind of creeping up the valley as the low pressure to our south, which is now becoming the dominant low, starts to warm it and work in some warmer air off the ocean at this point. You could get some, sometimes that's when you get some of this rain kind of creep up along the Connecticut River Valley. I think that gets to about Springfield maybe, with a brief change to some rain essentially then. And you can see we're collapsing the rain to the west at this point and starting to change that all over to snow. The Bennington still might be rain at 1 a.m., but most of us have transitioned to snow by then. And then if we go to 4 a.m., I think basically everybody's transitioned to snow except for the coastal New England areas. And again, most of the heavy precipitation is over by the heaviest of the first slug, but we're going to move through a pretty good slug of moisture, I think, with the second round that will lead to some accumulating snow throughout, especially Friday morning, but even into Friday afternoon, we can still have some light accumulating snow. Not going to measure up to feet of snow or anything like that, but some definite accumulation. So as we take a look at your snowfall forecast here, you can see that we really reflects those areas where we're going to get the most mixing, that 2 to 4 inches. I think that goes up to about Manchester, probably closer to 4 in Manchester, 2 to 3 inches in Brattleboro, 3 to 6 inches where we still see a decent amount of mixing early on during that heavier slug of moisture. That goes all the way up to Rutland, even north into like Brandon, places like that. Whereas most of us see 4 to 8 inches of snow out of this. East of the Greens, with the exception of maybe the southern part of the Connecticut River Valley and Windham County, basically. Springfield south, we're about 3 to 6 inches. And then 5 to 10 for the higher elevations. Wouldn't be surprised to see some of the ski areas get even more than 10 inches of snow. So a pretty good snowstorm out of this, really. The pattern does look a little more like winter going forward. We're still not in any kind of deep-seated winter, but there are some hints that we're going to tap some colder air and that some storms that are coming up could be more wintry than wet, although not a guarantee yet. The hints in the pattern, and right now some of the models want to give us, we're going to be pretty busy weather-wise over the next couple of weeks. Some of the models want to really make a lot of that into snow. Some still holding on to some rain. It's really a little too early to know to iron out those details, but just kind of give you a little bit of a preview. So in terms of our overall details for the storm, precipitation starts between 2 and 4 p.m. on Thursday. Precipitation is mostly snow above 1,000 feet, with everybody getting measurable snow. Moderate to heavy snow Thursday overnight, with lighter snow through the day Friday. Travel will be difficult, especially Thursday evening through Friday morning. No school on Friday is likely for a lot of locations. All right. Thanks for joining me. I will be back tomorrow morning with an updated look at this forecast.